Hi everyone. So thank you again for listening in to another episode of Mortgage Broker Insights. And today I have Sarah Tucker from the Mortgage Mum, who, if you don't know, they're an incredible brand. It is, as we discussed off air, it's International Women's Day tomorrow. So purely by chance, I've got someone fantastic that I think kind of symbolises that in the financial services industry as to what you can build as a woman, but as a brand as well, you know, as a mortgage broker. So I'd like to introduce you and pass you over to Sarah. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So if you can tell me a bit about yourself, for anyone who doesn't know, tell me about the business and kind of how Mortgage Mum was created.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sarah, and I'm the founder of the Mortgage Mum and the managing director. I founded the business. I was a mortgage broker for a number of years, not that many actually, before I started and founded the Mortgage Mum. And I was acting as a mortgage mum. I was a mum of one at the time, my daughter. I was doing a bit of singing, which I'll probably mention. And yeah, I was enjoying a balance of career that I loved, good money, doing things that I was passionate about, like my singing, and writing mortgages and being a mum. So I was kind of living my best life. And I kind of looked around me and I noticed a lot of women at the school gate who weren't living their best life actually, and who were either working jobs they didn't like or not working at all, or, you know, not at the school gate because they couldn't get the child, you know, their childminder was doing it. And I started realizing, oh, this is really unusual what I have. At the same time, I was simultaneously realizing there wasn't many women in the industry and thinking, this is really like I'm really on my own doing this way. And I was doing everything online because it was easier with the school run and the kids. And that was before COVID. So it was quite unusual again. And people would be like, but how do you meet clients? And I'd be like, oh, I just meet them online. Like, just do a video call. And they're like, what? You from the future? So yeah, I didn't realize I was kind of blueprinting what would later become a company. I was just authentically living my life at the time. And then I went on an ITV show called The Voice. I started doing self-development. I think anything, if you haven't done self-development, I think often something difficult in your life leads you down that path, or someone massively inspires you. For me, it was something difficult. I had my son, and then I got postnatal depression, which was the most crazy thing because all I ever wanted to be was a mum. So for me to get that, I was just like, I don't understand what's happening to me. But that led me down a path of spirituality and finding all of these things and finding myself again, which as a mum is really common, that you lose yourself in parenting and you don't really know what you're about anymore. So yeah, I found self-development, and that led me to trying my singing again after many years of rejection and not quite having the moment that I imagined. I picked that back up. I went on The Voice. That's the really short version. And on The Voice, pardon the pun, I discovered my own voice, and I started not just my singing, but I started talking about the fact that these women didn't have like what I had, and was there an opportunity for me to be able to do that? I just had all this confidence that I never had before, and that led to me setting the Mortgage Mum up right in the middle of The Voice. I think
you were still in the process when you set up the Mortgage Mum. You're still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was never in my plan to have my own business. I never thought one day I'm going to have my own company, until maybe like a few weeks before The Voice. And I was thinking so big during that time. You know, I knew I had a blind audition, and I was doing this self-development program where you met up with other women online. That's when I learned the power of women coming together, because these women, I've never even met them still to this day, maybe one or two, but they made me feel invincible. Like they lifted me. And every time I had a little win or a big win, I'd go into that group of women and say, this has happened. And they'd go, you're amazing. Go on, girl. Got your back. Like, I'm so excited. Keep us posted. And that made me keep trying to find the next thing to bring back to the group and say, well, now this has happened. And now I've created that in the Mortgage Mum for all the brokers that work here. They have that with us. You know, any win, they like telling us about it. But yeah, at that time, I went on The Voice, and I couldn't quite believe I was going on there anyway. but I knew I had this blind audition. I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction. I know we've spoke about that off air.
Indeed.
And I was really putting it back into practice after kind of losing love with it for quite a number of years. And my daughter was 5 at the time and my son was 2. My daughter was at a really impressionable age and she asked a lot of questions. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? What's the meaning of life? And so I included her in that process and I said to her, like, Mummy's always wanted to sing and have like a moment that with my singing that I could be really proud of. And you know, Mummy's going to go on a show called The Voice. I'm not going to go on X Factor because they mess me around. I'm going to go on The Voice. And I said, and it's not going to be Simon Cowell. It's going to be 4 chairs. And if they like you, they turn their chair. And obviously for a 5-year-old, she's like, that's amazing. What? So if they like you, the chair spins. I'm like, yeah, look, I'll show you loads of auditions. And I said, I want to get 4 turn for me. And she's like, oh, I think you will because you're a really good singer. And I'm like, well, hopefully, but you got to help me pretend. So when I get 4 chairs, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to be at the side of the stage. So what are you going to do when I get it? She was like, can I run on and give you a cuddle? I was like, you can do whatever you want. Like, if you want to give me a cuddle, you give me a cuddle. She's like, I'm gonna run on and give you a cuddle when you get 4 turns. So I said, well, let's do it now. Got to pretend it's happening today. So every time I sang it in the kitchen, bless her, she'd come running in at the end and go, yeah, you got 4 turns, Mummy. Give me a cuddle. So she was like adding a real fuel to my law of attracting at the time. And I like visualised while walking the kids to school, Jennifer Hudson turning and saying I sounded a bit like Mariah Carey. And I used to think, being a bit ambitious there, Sarah, but why not? Let's just keep it going. And I felt really high vibe. So I think the higher vibe you are, the more you can like dream big.
Yeah.
So it was all about the singing, and on the day, I did get 4 turns, but I had an absolute wobble before because all I could think is that Sienna was watching, and that if I don't, how am I going to explain to her when I've told her you can absolutely attract whatever you want, but I didn't attract that thing. So
Yeah.
I massively overthought it on the day, but I did go out there and deliver, like, and luckily got 4 turns, and she did run on stage and give me a cuddle exactly as we'd planned at home. And Jay did compare me to Mariah Carey, and I thought in that moment, I thought, shit, we are so powerful. Like,
Yeah. There's so
I
much
just did that.
amazing.
Yeah, and it was life changing. And so I walked on the stage unsure of myself. And I wouldn't say I walked off sure of myself, but I walked off knowing I had some power that I didn't really realise.
Yeah.
And then that's when I thought of the mortgage mum and thought, I'm going to, or like maybe the mortgage mum could be a thing that I do, and I could go do the voice and the record deal, but simultaneously attract women into the financial services industry that wouldn't be here. I had an incredible boss at the time called Jamie Lewis. And he sort of said to me, like, what are you thinking with this voice thing? He knew I had 4 turns at that point. He was like, are you going to be a mortgage broker still? Like, what are you going to do? Because you're going to get us loads of leads. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll get us loads of leads, but I'm thinking bigger than that. I'm thinking maybe we could, I don't know, attract women and train them to be brokers. Like, we could have brokers working all over the place. Like, you can do it online. And I think he was a bit dubious about the online stuff, but said, look, if you get through the next round, which is a battle, you're going to be on TV, 3 times, ITV Saturday night. And I said, yeah. He's like, I tell you what, if you win your battle, I'll set a company up with you called the Mortgage Mum. And I said, all right, game on. And so I did my battle, and I did win, and we were the last battle, so it was really, really unlikely, and I was really scared that it wasn't going to happen, but I did win. And I called him up the next day and I was like, we're setting a company up. And he's like, fantastic. I was like, what do we do? What does this mean? I don't even know what happens next. So we set the company up, and we had to do everything very, very quickly because the Voice basically take image rights once they've aired you.
Right.
So on the 12th of December, we set it up. We got a website out. We did a promo, like a photo shoot, and just got it out there. And actually, for anyone listening,
you had to get it out. You had to get it out
before it aired,
because otherwise they would want a piece of the pie.
Exactly.
Of the image
so
rights.
we had to get it out before. So we had 2 weeks. Christmas tree in the background, like I'm having to shove it all to the other side of the room just to it was so rushed, and it was in the middle of filming and rehearsals and mothering, and I was still writing mortgages, and I was just thinking, why now? Why would you choose Now to add a business into the mix when you've never run a business, I don't know what I'm doing. I had to come up with a brand in days because I didn't
Yeah.
have long. So, but looking back, I mean, I'm so glad I did because I came off The Voice with nothing to show for it, other than some beautiful experiences, some wonderful footage that I can show my kids and my kids and my kids,
Yeah, that's
but
still
nothing
incredible.
of substance. Yeah. And a belief that I didn't have before, and something for my daughter. But you know, she saw me rise and she saw me fall. And that was tough for us both because
Yeah,
we both believed I was going to win because we'd had so much momentum
yeah,
that then we started imagining me winning, and of course I didn't win. So it was a very difficult law of attraction lesson to teach her that
yeah.
sometimes you win and sometimes you don't, and
But
the
you're so much
universe
further
will
ahead than you were when you started
exactly.
in your life and everything, like the way you attract business now. And
Yeah,
so if you're not winning on that one particular thing, it doesn't mean you haven't won. I think
no, I
you've
think
learned so much, haven't you?
yeah, and the only way, because of the mindset work I'd done, the only thing that really helped was when I came off, I had a phrase that was this or something better. And
Yeah,
thank God for that phrase, because that's all that got me through. Is I just kept thinking, well, there must be something better for me because I thought it was this and it can't. So there must be something better. And the mortgage mum was right there waiting for me, which did not feel as fun
no,
as
it's not
as
singing, is
when I
it?
set it up. Yeah, you know, when I set it up, I was just high as a kite and thinking
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
possible. And then, you know, I was very low and had this business and had no idea what I was doing other than how to write mortgages. Um,
How
so
did
to
you
be
get
here
that?
now is
How
wonderful.
did you pick yourself up after that to kind of
Um,
throw everything into financial services? Because it is, as amazing as our jobs are and how lucky we are to, be in a
yeah,
wonderful industry, it's not the industry. If you could pick it, I'm assuming it would be singing. So
yeah.
it's hard to, um, how did you do it? How did you have to pick yourself
Yeah,
up? Because
it
you
was
have to
hard.
do.
It was hard. I think it was, and this sounds really cheesy, but I decided to set up a course in London for women who were thinking about being brokers. So I put myself out there, and obviously I had a bit of a platform, and I just said, like, I've got the best job. You know, I want to help people come in. I want to train you. I want to show you that it's possible. It's possible to do both. It's possible to be flexible. It's possible to find yourself a safe space in the financial services industry. So I set up this course. I just set up a Facebook group and I just started talking live on there often, just this is what I do, this is what we're thinking, this is what the package might look like. Would you be interested? And I was just hoping that one or two people would like the idea.
Yeah.
And within a few weeks, there were hundreds of women signing up for their CMAP on this Facebook group. And I thought, oh God, I can't take 100 women. Like, I don't even know how to
The
train one
machine
yet.
started now. If you can't.
Yeah, but it really showed me that there was a need. And when we did this course, it was in person before COVID. And I asked because of the spirituality, I brought everything together. So everything I'd learnt from my self-development, women's circles, you know, oracle cards, like I'm into it all. So I gave everybody a card reading to start the day. And I think they all came and thought, what financial services course is this? Like, you're giving me a what reading? Like, and I gave them all a citrine crystal, which is success and wealth. I think they did think, you know, wow, okay, this is not what I thought, but it
I
ended up
suppose
being
the
pure
people that
magic.
buy into you, the people that buy into that and buy into you, that's the ones you want. People that don't buy into it, they kind of
Yeah.
shouldn't potentially be with you anyway. So I don't think there's
No,
anything wrong with just revealing exactly what you like to people because if they don't like it, not everyone's for everyone, are they? It doesn't matter if
it's
they
very
work for you
true.
or.
Yeah, and that is so true, so true. And to so they all told their stories, and their stories were amazing. Like, they were all so different, but we were all intrinsically linked in some way.
Yeah,
And you know, people had seen person had seen me on The Voice, others didn't even know I was on The Voice, others had thought of the idea 10 years ago, then their parents needed caring for them, and then they went to a spa and they opened a magazine and there I was, like, in it. And they said everywhere they looked, they just kept seeing me. And I realized, oh, this is bigger than me.
yeah,
So you're all meant to be here, and I'm supposed to be leading this. And I'm not supposed to be over there doing a record deal. For whatever reason, I'm supposed to be right here in this room in London with you all. And if I didn't lose, I wouldn't be. I'd have been in London recording.
yeah,
And it was that made me go, I don't understand why. And sometimes I got really angry about that. And I
Yeah.
used to think, screw you, universe. I don't want,
Yeah.
I don't
Tell me what I
want
want.
to do it. But I just always knew, like, yeah, from that day, and I just got reminders all the time from the women joining that it was bigger than me, it was bigger than me, it was bigger than me. It was more important than what I could contribute in that lane.
Yeah.
So that truthfully, just putting one foot in front of the other and continuously getting those little nuggets of wisdom or inspiration kept me going. And then at some point it just dropped and I didn't want the singing anymore. I think
Yeah.
COVID is around that time where I realized I would have been out of a job, I would have earned nothing. My family would have been in a really horrible situation. But instead, there I was busy, leading, training. Like my head was inspired. And I just thought, okay,
This is it.
like
Yeah.
I trust you. Whatever this is, I'm going to just trust you and go for it. And here we are now,
Yeah.
like
I
two
do
years
think
later.
it's easy to because you're so fixated on one goal. It's
Yeah.
hard to understand if you're, even like for me, recruitment might not be the end. You don't know
Mhm.
what it. Maybe there's something bigger. You just don't know. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because you're so focused on one thing to go. No, that can't be right. This is the thing I'm good at. This is the thing that I want to do. So actually,
Yeah.
when you get pulled away and go, right, okay, that's
Yeah.
what it must
And
be amazing.
yeah. And I still, people, the number one thing is, what are you doing with your singing? And I still have a little thing of nothing.
Yeah,
Right now. Right
yeah,
now, my
exactly.
focus is here. I will pick it back up, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah,
But right now, it's
but you're loving
firmly.
what you do. It's different.
Yeah,
Got,
I do. I love the Mortgage Mum, and
yeah, it
I
shows.
really feel like we're making a difference, and I feel really passionate about so much that we stand for. And I just think there's probably going to be a day where I had it recently where we had all the mortgage mums in front of me because it was all on virtual before. And I can't explain it. On the hardest days after the voice, I used to say to my coach at the time, I know there's going to be a day where I said, I don't know where I'm standing, but I'm standing somewhere and I'm talking to people on a podium, like I've got a microphone and I'm inspiring them. And this is part of that. And she was like, oh, I see it. I get goosebumps. And I don't think that this was necessarily that. I think that moment's still yet to happen. But I had a little inkling of it. Like I got to tell my
For a
story
glimpse of it.
to my team, and there was 30 women there. And I felt so much like amazing energy in the room. And I did think then, okay, like
This is a part of that.
this is part of that. So
Yeah,
just keep walking your path and you're gonna be okay, basically.
yeah. Let's talk about the brand actually. So,
Yeah.
was it a worry at all? Were you so convinced by it because of what you've been through? Because obviously you are. I said this to you before. And I hate. It's not anti-establishment because but it is against what financial services has always been in the grey,
No.
suited, middle-aged man,
Yeah.
flogging financial services. And not just you guys, but there are lots of brands that are breaking the mold at the moment. The financial services isn't, the grey as the suit. They are.
Yeah.
So really, I'm interested in how, first of all, I'm assuming you were positive about the brand because of you were sure, sorry.
Yeah.
But talk
Yeah.
to me about the brand and how it came about and how you stuck to
Yeah.
it.
I think I was branding it way before I branded it because I had such a short space of time to choose the colours. And I mean, it's actually really hard to choose a logo and colours when you could choose anything in the world. Like,
Yeah.
what are you thinking, Sarah? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Like, there's so many colours in the world and so many fonts and and I remember thinking, oh God, I don't know. And then I walked into my office at home that was done in pink and gold. And I thought, well, surely you should just pick what you like. And
Yeah.
clearly
Saves
you
you having to
like pink
redecorate
and
your office
gold.
then as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the moment I wrote back to him and said, can you try a gold logo with some really nice pink, not a horrible pink, a really classy pink. And that was when I sort of was like, it needs to be feminine, classy. It needs to be warm, but professional in its own way. But
Yeah.
so the Mortgage Mum was kind of my way of kind of showing that, but it wasn't overly thought about in terms of it just felt right. Once they showed me the logo, it kept feeling wrong, and then they got it right, and I was like, yes, it's as
That's the one.
simple as that. It doesn't need to be any more fussy. But way back when, I was breaking the mold when I was a broker, and I think that was from that group of women. I
Yeah.
used to go in there and say, look, I'm around this board table with men every month, and they all do the same. They're getting their leads from agents. They're not going online. I feel like as a mum, that's kind of what I need, is for someone to just come live and let me ask them questions. And so I think validation's a massive thing when you're sampling something.
Yeah.
So I can't honestly say if I hadn't had that period of time where there was nothing weighing on it. It was just me and my business, and I was able to try it without having any kind of weight on it, like, oh, is this going to work for a big company? Like, it
Yeah.
was just, is this going to work for me as a normal broker? And it did, because people would tune in. And then on the school run, I used to think I need to give out business cards, and I didn't, because people would go, I was watching you earlier. I tune in every Wednesday when you do your live. You can do any more. You should do it on Fridays as well. So I'd be pushing my son on the swing while doing a live, and people would be there every week. And I thought, there's something in this. So, and then my results started speaking in my figures. So I got that validation. So by the time I was on The Voice, I knew I just had to keep doing that. But truthfully, one of the first things someone said to me was, oh, you know how to make mortgages pink. And I thought, that's not what I'm doing. I'm not. I'm not trying to make it pink. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. And I was really offended, but I couldn't work out why. And it was because they underestimated me, and they made me feel like I was just trying to make it pretty. And it wasn't about that. It was just
No, it's much bigger.
it was it was a feminine brand, but truthfully, like what you speak about, I mean, I still sort of can't, it's lovely to hear someone describe it as that, and anti-establishment and all these powerful words. And I'd love to sit here and I could totally make up and say, yeah, this was
That's what I went
always
for.
the plan. And the reason I've done this font is because this is men, and this is that's not it. It just was authentic. Like, that's what I liked. And I was the mortgage mum, and I was the mold that was broken, and I was the person doing it differently. So as long as it was in line with me, I couldn't get it wrong, because nobody was doing it that way at that time.
Yeah, I get that. Makes sense.
But yeah, now the brand stands for a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's huge. That's what, again, the brand, not just the logo, I mean, the actual brand as a whole is incredible. Let's talk about your recruitment, actually, because that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because of your, I'm sure it's not connected, but you obviously have that experience from the singing side of things, where you are, one of a few in a room, not, I don't want to say judged. You speak to everyone.
You are judged, yeah.
But you speak to everyone, and I know your recruitment's very kind of gone down that route, but you took some advice on that as well in your early days, so I'd be interested to hear about that.
Yeah, initially, I'm a people pleaser by nature. It's something I have to manage now, now that I've learned how to lead, because you can't lead and people please. That's impossible. If you want to be a good leader, you actually can't do that. So that was a big lesson.
Do you think you can do both?
I don't think you can. No.
No, only because I know from my talent dynamics, I'm a people pleaser. I'm a cheerleader. So I always like to think that, but I do understand your point. You can't please everyone because you've got to lead them at the same time. So it's an interesting. Interesting point.
It's a really recent thing, but if you're going to listen to yourself, you are going to not please some people. So in order to truly lead, you have to be willing to do that, to do the right thing.
Which may upset them, yeah.
So when I say I'm a people pleaser by nature, I want everybody to like me, and I want everybody to think what I'm doing is right, and I want to please everyone and not have anybody think I'm X, Y, Z. That is impossible, because it's their filter. It's what they think about me is not actually about me half the time, unless I do something that's not nice. But yeah, even if I was the nicest person every minute of every day, I'd still probably offend somebody. And that's the truth and harsh reality that I've had to kind of learn. So with recruitment back in the day, I would interview everybody, which meant so much time out of my diary, which at the beginning I didn't have the audacity, if you like, I used to think of it as that, to say that's not worth my time to do that for a whole week. Because I didn't, I suppose it came down to self-worth and just thinking, well, no, like, Everyone deserves
You don't want
everyone's
to sound too
time.
pretentious either, do you? Yeah, exactly. You don't want to sound too pretentious and say that's not
No,
work. It takes a
that's
lot, I
below
think.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think anything's below anyone, but I do think like it's hard to adjust to that and go. Actually, I know my worth, and time is the most important thing I've got. And
yeah.
even if you can't do everything, but I do
And
appreciate that. But it's hard at the beginning.
it is, and I think it only came when I physically could not do it all. And the like reality that I was letting the team down to recruit new members of the team was happening. And I used to think that's wrong because then they're going to resent people coming in because they're getting less of me. So I reached out to Ying Tan, who I know has been on this.
Yes.
Um, and he was so generous and gave me an hour of his time. We'd never met each other, but I kept seeing him everywhere and I'd seen his book and I kept thinking, this guy's doing really brilliant. And I wonder if he'd talk to me if I just ask. And we had a Zoom call and I just had questions that just hammered in with questions. And one of the questions I said is, look, with recruitment, I'm struggling here because we are inundated with applications and I don't know how to recruit well, but I don't know how to do that. And he suggested a recruitment day was what he did, and we adjusted it to be online because obviously it was COVID, and we just wanted to put our own spin on it. And it wasn't until I spoke to you the other day that I realised I've recreated basically the X Factor bootcamp process in the mortgage world, which makes me actually feel really weird and cringy.
I thought that was a conscious decision because I've always thought like,
No
well, that makes
way.
sense because of your experience, and I thought that was until we
No,
spoke about it and I mentioned it, and you went, oh yeah, didn't really see it like that because
no,
I thought that was like a
no.
conscious step. Like it works, because it works for them. It works, maybe it works for financial services.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so brutal. Like, in that world when I did it on X Factor, it's
I mean, yours is less
brutal.
brutal. Yours is less brutal than the X Factor boot camp, isn't it? It's
I'd
not.
like to think so, and I'm certainly not trying to be a Simon Cowell at all. I'm a softie, but yeah, what we do is a big presentation, high energy. Really, like I love to talk about the company, but I don't like to talk about it 16 times in a row.
Yeah,
Like I haven't got the energy for that. So
I was
it's
going to
high
say this
energy.
energy for the 16th person isn't really fair on the
It's
compared to
not.
the first one because yeah, like you say,
And
it's
that
only
could be
fair
your
when some
best
people say it.
candidate. Yeah,
Mm.
that could be the best person you have. And then you might lose them because it's them
Yeah,
interviewing you too. So big presentation, high energy, very welcoming, um, and telling them everything they could possibly need to know, doing a Q&A. And then we do breakout rooms with our senior team. And we've all been working and prepping those questions to make sure we all know what we're looking for. But truthfully, it comes down to a feeling anyway. And then that's first interviews. Then we collect that information and we then choose people for second interviews that same day. So it is quite intense for the applicants as well because they're kind of watching a presentation and then they're trying to impress and then they're waiting and then they're
yeah.
trying to impress again. But we try and
But that's
make it
all
as
in one day, though,
lovely as
isn't it?
possible,
It's not.
all in one day.
I would much rather that than a 3-week journey where you lose someone halfway through.
Yeah,
Even that's intense. You're like sleeping on it. It's not
exactly.
much better to get it done.
And it's worked brilliantly. We've done it, I think, 2 or 3 times now. And oh no, I think it's 2. And the last recruitment we had, the results speak for themselves in those brokers because they've come in, they're very clear on our mission, they're very clear on our values, they're very motivated, they know how hard it's going to be, and they're ready for it.
Yeah,
And they feel so grateful because they've been through a process to get there and they feel amazing that they've done it and they walk in with that confidence and that is wonderful. So, and then they're also together, they've seen each other in that big room and gone, we're the ones,
yeah,
we're so
yeah.
lucky. And we took them away to a spa last year as a Christmas thing, so they were really lucky. They joined us in October and they were away in a spa together by the December, and they were like a little like dynamite group. They just had so much energy and they spent time kind of brainstorming and masterminding for the next year. And I just think that bond like was created because they'd had a shared experience at the same time. So it works really brilliantly and is super
Yeah.
time efficient. So I'm very grateful to Ying for inspiring that.
Good, good, good. And in regards to again that recruitment side of things, I
Yeah.
obviously I'm always interested in that. But I know you
Yeah.
are looking at a few different things at the moment, and we kind of touched on it before. And it's relatively new for you. But talk to me about what you're doing
At the
this year and
moment.
what your plans are. Yeah.
Yeah. So up till now, we've always recruited trainee brokers on the mass So those recruitment days are made up of people that have worked in banks as brokers, who
Yeah.
are got to make a leap to self-employed and take a leap to whole of market advice, which needs a lot of support, or people that are brand new to the industry that we've attracted in, which is great, or it's you know, experienced brokers tend to fall outside of that recruitment day. There'll be one-on-one conversations, and we've taken them on over the years.
Yeah.
And coming into this year, we'd come off the back of our first awards. We won 4 awards in the space of 2 weeks at the end of 2021. So that validation that I so value came in the form of those awards, and then a front page article in Mortgage Strategy that I knew was coming out in February. Plus, we were being contacted by the BBC to appear on their radio. So all of this work that I've done over the last 2 to 3 years of consistent marketing with very little in the way to show that it's working. Like, you get likes, you get comments, but no like overnight success story here. You know, it was just consistency, a consistent amount of likes and follows, but nothing to shout home about. And sometimes that was difficult, and I used to think this is pointless and it's just not worth doing. But I used to carry on doing it, and I feel like all of that is suddenly manifesting in what I can now see to be a trophy, or someone calling me from the BBC, and I'm thinking, that's amazing you even know I'm alive. Like, it's amazing that you've chosen us to represent mortgages in that radio space, or the Sun contacted me for an article, or whatever, the Metro. All these things are starting to all happen at the same time, and that led to me thinking, you need to think bigger now as well.
Yeah.
And I think confidence, and my mission was to bring women in, to make it safe, to inspire people to join our industry. And then I started to realize there's women already in our industry that are working in places now, and we might actually be a fantastic place for them to raise their profile in this industry. Some people will never get the chance to go to industry events because they're part of large corporations that, quite honestly, they're a number. That's not us yet, you know, when and I hope it never is, but we're still small business, we're still new, we're still very, very intimate in our team. And I just started to think that actually our team would really benefit as well from, I think you're a product of the people you spend the time with, and it's just elevating, basically. So, and law of attraction is an amazing thing. I went into the year writing down in my journal, this is what I feel I need this year. I need a tribe or a squad or a team that are better than I was when I was a broker, that are writing much more than I did and showing me what's possible as a woman in this industry, that maybe you don't necessarily want part-time. Maybe you want to go at it full-time, and you don't, you know, you want flexibility, but not in the same way that we initially thought. And that is 100% a thing. So as luck would have it too, it came via someone to us, and we didn't go out looking for them as such. And when they arrived,
you say you didn't, but the universe did, didn't it? You wrote it down.
That's very true, but I hadn't actively gone out. And and they came, and as soon as I met the first lady, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She's amazing. And then when we asked her and fought for her and created this package, because ultimately our package was really tailored for someone climbing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And we didn't necessarily, we have a tiered structure here. We have a framework, it's all the colours. So it was like pink, gold, diamond, platinum and diamond. And then I'm thinking, oh, there's a level above diamond. What's better than a diamond? Like Googling, what is there a thing that's better than a diamond? And as soon as I found out there is, emerald was born. And so now we're recruiting 10 to 12 emerald brokers. And these ladies, we've created the package, it's bespoke for these types of brokers. It rivals the best in the industry. And I expect there to be more coming, because we're actively going to get them now, and really excited about what we can offer them as well as what they can offer us. And
I think that's
it just makes the movement even bigger.
Now you're up kind of running at that consistent level with all of the people that you're putting through the training. If you get that other tier, and that also then adds another tier for everyone else to get to as well.
Exactly, it's inspiring.
It's always something inspiring, and seeing people do it. It's easy to say you can earn X. Like, we get this all the time in recruitment. Well, you know, so and so's earning this, and go, well, you know, that's not realistic for you in year one, but They genuinely do. This
exactly.
person's in year 5, and it does happen. So
Yeah.
if they're actually in your business, talking to your people, then that can only be good for them.
Exactly. And for the wider message about women in financial services, it's amazing to have women that have been here doing it a while, like me, and like the senior members of our team, because they have learned things, they know other things that need doing. And we're
Yeah,
working with you may have seen, but we're working with Bright Star on our moving forwards forum. And that is to move things forward for everybody. So we
yeah,
need to know, like we need people in the team that have been doing this a long time in environments that are not the mortgage mum, that
yeah.
because these
So
ladies
trickier
only know
to,
what we've given them and they think the industry is wonderful for women. But
yeah,
these ladies have been in corporate machines and they know why we are needed. They know why this space is needed for
yeah,
the wider sort of wider women basically. So I'm really excited about this new thing that's happening, and we're still recruiting trainee brokers, so we're not rejecting what we were doing. We're just adding
yeah,
to it,
yeah. Because
adding
that's
another
work for you as well,
dimension.
hasn't it? That's work for
Yeah.
you. See, it's not a case like you say. It's adding. It's not.
No.
You're not swapping.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's exciting.
Good, good, good. So we touched on this before, and I know you are a massive believer in the law of attraction, like me, and we talked about it when we spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
How important is that for your business? Like, and I know we touched on it when I said when a lot of people don't do it for their recruitment, which is crazy because we do it in our personal lives, and we
Hmm.
kind of touched on that. But talk to me, or talk to other people that are listening that perhaps maybe, even if you don't believe in it, which is crazy to me because it's like
It's a
I
law.
honestly feel it's a law, yeah. But I do feel like if you know about it and you don't tell people about it, it's like you're cheating because it's that much, it's
Yeah.
made that much of a difference to my life. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit more about what the law of attraction has done for you and your
Yeah.
business, and um, yeah, how important it is really.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I think you find the law of attraction, or it finds you when you really need it, if your eyes are open.
Yeah,
Probably if you trail back your life, you'll see it was trying to capture your attention way before you looked at it and took notice. Um, so I think, yeah, for me, I think for anyone that hasn't done it or doesn't believe in it, once you actively do it and it works once, you cannot deny it. It's
it's like
too
I,
specific.
I think it's like magic marketing. Like if you pump some money into marketing and it works, you wouldn't then ignore it and go, ah, that was luck. Like
No.
it genuinely, like I've been in recruitment for what, 11, 12 years. Honestly,
Yeah.
feel like I've been doing it like 18 months because I suddenly found out,
Wow.
and it's brand new. And like I said, these are things that 3 years ago me would never have been able to talk about because I'd be like talking rubbish. I see things
Yeah.
now, I'm open to it that I saw 2 years ago and thought it was, just woo woo nonsense.
Hmm.
Um, but once you know it, don't you? And then it feels like everyone should know
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And, the voice is my classic example I always draw on, but I think the smaller ones are just as important to talk about because not everyone wants to go on a singing show.
I
Like,
can't sing, so I haven't got
yeah,
my.
that's what I mean. Like, people go, "Oh, that's great for you," but it's so far removed from my life. I'm not interested. The second you apply the law of attraction to money, everyone wants to know. As soon as I say I manifested 50 grand to pay for my loft extension, everyone then is like, tell me how. I need
Yeah,
50
go
grand.
on, say again.
I want 50 grand. And I think what people have to understand is like any business, you have to start small. Like you can't expect the law of attraction this is my opinion and my experience. You have to, like with anything you're building, any practice, you can't go, I'm going to go in the gym tomorrow and I'm
You're
going
like,
to
I mean,
deadlift 100 kilos just because I want to, like, just because that's what I'm going to do, like, because my intention is there. Well, you have to start with 5, 10, 15, 20, build up your confidence, build the muscle. And I think the law of attraction is the same. Start really small. I'd recommend a book called The Magic because that does it for you. It says for 28 days, and every day it gives you a little random exercise. And at first you think, this is insane. Why am I picking a stone from my garden to be grateful to and remind me of gratitude? I don't want to. But if you do it for 28 days and you have to do it in a row, you will 100, don't know anyone that hasn't, will have a sign that goes, ah, this
It works.
works. And then you can build on that muscle. And I did manifest 50 grand, and it happened in like 2 weeks because I was so, I was further along in my law of attraction journey then. And then I
Yeah.
manifested the voice, and then I manifested the mortgage mum. So it happens. How does it work, and why is it so important? Well, it allows you to think big. It allows you to dream big. It makes you really get to know yourself. What do you want?
Yeah.
What fires you up? Why do you
For
want
me,
it?
I also think for me, it's made me work harder because I know I
Yeah.
can't sit on the couch and want what I want. I can't talk
Yeah.
about myself in a way that would be embarrassing to talk about myself in front of my mates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to yourself, because that's the
Yeah.
person you want to be. But then you can't sit
Mhm.
on the couch. You can't not make that phone call at 6 o'clock because
No.
you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
don't. I think people have got this weird kind of illusion that I've ranted about it before actually about like you're sat on your couch wishing you had this yellow Ferrari, and someone comes along and says, "Look, come out and work with me." And you're like, I can't. I'm too busy thinking about this yellow Ferrari. And like that was your
Yeah.
opportunity. That was your yellow Ferrari opportunity, but you chose to sit there and think about it. So I do
Exactly.
100% believe in the law of attraction, but I think it opens up your mind to work harder because no one gets anything without working. You know,
No.
work
And I do think the law of attraction as well, it takes you out of envy and puts you into action, like you just said, because
yeah,
it is really easy to be envious of people's success. I mean, we're exposed to it all the time via Instagram, celebrity culture. It's really easy to think, oh, lucky them. It's okay for them because dot, dot, dot. It's okay for them because they've had a rich dad. Like, it's available to all of us.
yeah,
It actually is. And you can stay there and you can be envious and bitter, and eventually that will like carve, that will cut out of your soul the goodness that you are as a person, because it will just shadow it.
yeah,
Or if you choose to walk down the other path, it just makes you a better person. It makes you more grateful, more open, more curious. Um, and ultimately, we're all here to learn about ourselves, to learn the lessons that we're here to learn before we, move on to the next stage, is my belief. And law of attraction is a fantastic way of doing that. And it is an energy, like it is you can't not believe in it once you do it. And
no.
the
It's
life
funny
of,
when you say
that
to people,
sounds so
you can't not
cheesy.
believe in it, and they go, "Well, I don't believe in it." You go, "Well, you can't." You can't.
Yeah, okay. But then I just think, okay, that's fine because
But
I
then
do.
I didn't believe in
So
it 3 years ago, so I wasn't ready for it. I read The
no,
Secret years ago, and I thought it was absolute nonsense. I thought this was a great money spinner for this woman to go
yeah,
out and prey on vulnerable people. That's what I thought. And then
mm,
I read it again, and I was like, God, what an idiot! 10 years ago, could have retired now if I knew then what I knew now.
yeah, it's
Just
true.
it's crazy, and every aspect of your life, like you said, there, gratitude. You know, the
Yeah,
number. If I could give that advice to anyone, just be you're so much more of a better person if you're grateful, and that comes from
yeah.
everything, the law of attraction side of things.
And I have to like acknowledge that it's really hard when life isn't working out for you to stay in that space. Like
Hmm.
if you if you're struggling with whatever, it can be hard because it's hard to tap into that mindset of
Yeah.
gratitude when you can't find anything to be grateful for because your problems overshadow your light or your success.
Hmm.
But these books, that they do help you start small, because you can be grateful for anything every day. I have a 5-minute journal. It's all I have time for. Like, so I have no excuse. 5 minutes. I can give myself 5 minutes a day. And it just says at the beginning of the day, what are the 3 things I'm grateful for? What 3 things would make today great? And even that is so good because
Keeps your mind going.
then you look for opportunities. So I think, well, sometimes it's as simple as a bath. Like if I get to have a bath, today would be a great day. But sometimes it's bigger, like I need that broker to say yes to us today. That would make today great for me. 3 things that make today great, and then an affirmation. And then at the end of the day, you check in. What 3 things that were amazing happened today? And often they're not the same 3 things that you planned. They're 3 different things that you're like, oh, well, I had story time with my son and he laughed his head off and it just warmed my heart. Like, and then what could I have done better? And that takes me into the next day. And I think I need to drink more water. I mean, I write that down probably 20 days out of 30.
Yeah,
Drink
most
more
days.
water. I should have drunk more water today. And it's good because then some days I think, wow, you know what? There's not much I could have done better today. I've had a really good day of action and I feel good today.
Yeah, if that's at the end of your day, and that's the big thing. That's a good day, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's training my mind, because when I started doing it, I wasn't in a good place.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the mood to do that
Do you ever
journal
look back
at
at it?
all.
Do you ever read back on your journal?
Yeah, sometimes I do. The favourite one is the voice one, pre the voice, and I've got so much angst in this journal about I'm never going to have this moment, and this niggle in my stomach won't go away. And, when am I like, why? Why have you given me this voice if I can't use it? Why have you given me a singing voice if no one wants to listen to it? Why have you given me so much rejection if you want me to carry on? Like,
Yeah.
so much angst, scribbled out pages, rejection, rejection, rejection. 16 years is in that journal. And then I packed it away on the day. I thought, I'm done. Like, I can't write, and I don't want to do it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah.
And then I rediscovered it, as luck, law of attraction, whatever would have it, that we got our loft done because I manifested the loft money. And in clearing out the loft, I found the journal. And because I was doing my self-development, because I had the postnatal depression, which was also not luck, not coincidence, sorry,
Yeah.
I picked up the journal, and there was like a little bit left, like probably 20 to 30 pages. And I picked it back up, and I was like, oh, fine, I'm going to fill it back in. And I wrote in as if I hadn't seen this friend for years. And I said, lots happened since I saw you. I've had 2 kids. This has happened. I have not sung. So that hasn't happened. But I've got 2 kids. I've experienced this. I've learnt this about myself. And then the singing, it was only for singing stuff. And the day before, the voice audition, like my actual blind, because there's loads of rehearsals, so they all went in there like, I've had a rehearsal today, I felt really good, I don't know what to sing, oh my gosh, Jay Hud's the coach, oh my gosh, I've got a blind, oh my god, I've got my outfit, this is my outfit, it's all in there,
Yeah.
highs and lows. And the day before, I looked right back to the beginning, and it was years and years and years before, and it said, my journey, my like school handwriting, my journey to becoming an artist, a real artist or something. And then the day before, like day of my audition, Maureen, who was my coach, she took me off, and I was panicking and just in a mess. And she said, just sing to me one more time and just get your head in the game. Like, this is your moment. You've nailed it at every rehearsal. Don't get your head out of the game now. And I sang to her, and she was like, Sarah, I need you to know that you're not a mortgage broker who sings. You're a singer who does mortgages. You are an artist. And I was like, I got goosebumps all over me. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I have 1 page left in that journal, and it's going to be what happens in this blind audition, like whether I get it or not. And obviously then I did get it. And that journal was wrapped up like under my bed. And I just think that it's an amazing thing to look back on, because
Yeah.
it gives you think to, oh, that's just one chapter. And that's why it ended then, because it was a chapter. And there's so much more to our lives. And sometimes it's really good to look back for you to look forward and have faith in the bigger picture.
Yeah, makes sense. We did it the other week. We had an incredible January, but it's massive anticlimax. Just because we wanted, there's certain things that didn't happen, and the same thing. We're not journaling. We look back at spreadsheets and we did the business. Just remember where you've come from. Remember the difference 12, 18 months makes, and looking back, I don't think hurts. As long as you're not looking back wishing, you're looking back to understand where you are. I think it's really beneficial.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I go off on a tangent, as you can tell.
Yeah, honestly, like, all of this has been golden as well. Like, not everything. I think this is the least about business I've ever spoken. However, I think it's no, in a good way. Like, I think people can take so much from it, because I could sit here every week and talk about business. I think the one thing that you have said, which every other business person that I spoke to is about consistency. And if everyone only takes one thing, but actually, if they take one thing, it's law of attraction. But most important, like, consistency is so important, because people at the moment will be watching your success and thinking, God, I'm not there. Like, why am I not there? I don't know. I'm posting every day. I'm writing content. I'm trying to be original. And then all of a sudden, much the same as we were, posted for 9 months, didn't get anything, and then it just rockets. So you've got to be in the game, haven't you? You've got to stick in the game.
Consistency is the number one thing in business, and consistency, even when you're not getting the result, is really hard, but you have to do it. There is no other way. And I know I went on a TV show, so I literally it's an embarrassing like contradiction, but it's because of the lesson I've learned. And I say it again and again, we look for overnight success. We're trained to, we're conditioned to take this pill, have this shake, like
instant
find the
gratification.
fastest route.
That's where we live.
Yeah, lottery. Like, don't work for it. Just go on to X Factor and be famous overnight. Like, it's not real. It's not
Yeah,
real. Like, you have to be consistent. You have to do the steps. You have to do the work, even with the law of attraction. And people that want to skip that bit, you're going to get unstuck. You're not going to get
yeah,
where you want to get to, and you've got to just suck it up, basically, and do it even when you're not getting the results. I am
yeah.
not an
I want
overnight
to say
success.
it's super hard. It's super hard to do it when you're not
It
feeling the
is.
results straight away. But it's like
It's really
marketing.
hard.
You can't chuck money at marketing again for a minute, not work, and change it. You've got to get
No.
it, check the results. You know, it does happen. It does work. But it's
Yeah.
great these conversations though, because I genuinely think people have this strange feeling that everyone successful has just done really well from the off. I've had brokers who are, you know, net worth millions and millions, and they'd say how they had to pay people on credit cards, and like yourself, you know, you got it through a tough time in your life. You know, it's
Yeah.
super interesting. It's not just something where people are just gifted and they get it and it works. You know, it's a tough
No.
ride. You've got
And I,
to keep going.
yeah, and I only say that because I was that person. I'm capable of being that person every
Mm.
day. But that's the hard lessons I've had to like learn for myself.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm still not there. Just for anyone that thinks, oh yeah, like we've got
you've
so
got it.
much to learn. We've got so much to do and so much to learn before and even the people like the CEO of Gymshark, I was listening to podcasts on him today, and he's got so much to learn. You think,
He's
really?
brilliant, isn't he? He's
You are
brilliant.
like
You've
so
nailed it.
wealthy. Yeah, you've nailed it. But no, he's like, no,
But this
I've got
again
to
is
be
what I'm
better.
getting
I've
from
got to do
these
this.
kind of these interviews that I do. Successful people are always there. No one has ever come on and gone, "Yeah, I'm the finished article." You know,
Yeah,
no one has ever come on and said, "Yeah, completed it." You
yeah,
know, look at
done it.
Ying. Ying's the same. He's still got things he wants to do, and he sold his business. Like he has
Yeah, that's the
completed
like
it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
he's always learning. He's always, and I still see him in the evenings on like Clubhouse and
yeah.
audio ones where he's running entrepreneur companies with people, and he's giving more. Um, you know, it's incredible.
He is
That's
an
how you
incredible
listen.
guy. He really
Yeah,
is, and he's inspired many, many, many people to walk in his shadow or his footsteps. Like it's amazing.
yeah. No, he is, and he's like I said, he just keeps going. He's
Yeah,
a machine like that, and he'll help anyone. Like he will. You can pick up the phone to him tomorrow, and he'll happily. But
gonna
again,
tell.
that is the traits of successful people. I'm sure you're the same. I haven't had anyone
Yeah,
say no to this, and I say to people like, you know, you are speaking to your competitors. You are
yeah.
teaching people how to get better at doing what you're doing. And I haven't had one person say, do you know what, not really for me, because I only
No.
ask successful people, and I think
Oh,
that's
that's
the secret.
interesting. Oh well, that's good. I'm in a good
Yeah,
camp then.
yeah, exactly. You are, yeah. So I'm going to ask you one last business question. I know I've kept you for ages.
Okay,
I appreciate your time. I genuinely do. I think it's going to help loads of people.
I
But
hope so. I'm sorry it's not been too businessy.
no, that's fantastic. It's good. You can't have every interview being the same. It's
No,
still around business. It's
it
you
is.
know
Yeah,
it's relative to, and it's relative to your brand as well. You know,
yeah.
if we were talking
It's all
about
each
boring
other.
mortgage market stuff,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't exactly. It's linked. But so if you could do anything differently from the
Oh,
time that you set up the mortgage one, I know
yeah. I forgot
I
that.
gave you about a minute
Yeah.
notice on this one. It was good because it see what pops into your head. But if you could do anything differently, what would it be? What would you tell yourself, you know, a couple of years ago when you were starting the journey, like do this or
Do you know what? The truth is, what I was told and what I tell myself, people did tell me and I ignored it. It will take 2 to 3 years to build a business. If
yeah,
you're a new broker, it's going to take you 2 to 3 years to earn really good money. And I didn't want to hear it because, quite honestly, if I had believed it, I don't know if I'd have done it. Like,
yeah,
I don't, I don't know if I'd have waited. Now I'm here 2, 3 years later, it's easier. But at the
yeah,
time,
Jesus,
that
to
was
say that.
unbearable because every day was long, every minute, every decision was big and took a lot out of me. And, so, but that is the truth. So I actually think, to be honest, you have to walk your own walk. Like, what would I do differently? So much, but I wouldn't have listened. You know, if
That's a
someone
good
had said
point.
to
Yeah,
me, recruit like this, don't do that, I would have believed, no, 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 I think I can do
I've got
it.
it.
I've got it.
Well,
This
I
is going
mean,
to be different.
listen is a great answer. You know, what you should have done different if I'd listened to people, because you still get to where you are, but um, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit quicker if you listen, or you would have. It's easy to accept, I suppose.
yeah, I think being productive in this answer, I would say the consistency thing is key.
Yeah.
Don't expect overnight success, and be very clear on your vision. Because if you don't know why you're doing it or what you want it to look like eventually, you can walk like that for years and then never escape your own circle. Be willing to be coached. That's a massive one.
Amazing.
Be
I
willing
said
to invest,
so many people, just in regards to your vision is obvious. You know, everyone can see that in the market, like it or not. That's the you know, your market's all pointing in the same direction. That's your vision. And when people come to us, especially on the recruitment side, they don't really know what they want. They know they want to grow. They don't really know how to. And I'm saying, have you written it down? No. How do you see your business? Not sure. You know, how do you feel when you go in the office? Are you the boss or are you the guy that sits at, you know, they don't know. So if you don't know what you want, it's
No.
impossible for anyone else to help you as well, you know. So.
Yeah. So that's a productive answer. Like, sit with yourself and imagine a pen to paper. Like, the mortgage mum, I've still got the original flow diagram. It was literally a bubble chart.
Really?
Yeah, what would the mortgage one be? Bubble chart. How would that look? Like, I've got it still. The seed on a piece of paper. Start somewhere. Just start. Start today. Write something down. See what happens. See what comes out.
Amazing.
And be coached. You have to invest.
100%.
In self-development.
That's brilliant. Both of those are fantastic. Listen, I've really appreciated speaking to you today. Genuinely,
Thank you.
Some absolute gold there. People can't take that away and kind of put that into their own businesses. And like I said, I do like this because it's much more. It's not as financial servicey. We have talked about the important stuff, like the mindset, the law of attraction, that kind of thing. But I do think it's super important to touch on because it's not just about banging out a mortgage. You know, there's much more involved when you set up a company.
Yeah, hopefully it shows people that you are your business, you are your brand. So it's all about what's going on in you as well.
Yeah, lovely. All right, brilliant. Well, obviously, thank you very much, Sarah. Really appreciate it. Anyone that's listening, we'll get the recording out as well. Anyone that couldn't make it, we'll also get the recording out. I think there's about 500 people that the recording's going out to, so all mortgage brokers. So I appreciate that, Sarah. And any questions you've got for Sarah, get in touch with her. Any questions you've got for me, please do. And I will catch up with you soon, Sarah. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much.